get started. So I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I'll open with a prayer, and if you join me in the pledge.
You bet.
Lord, thank you for the start of just such a beautiful day. Thank you for the weather that we're enjoying now, and Lord, we ask again that you be with those who have suffered loss of family, or those who've suffered loss of homes and buildings, and the recent tornadoes and storms that we've had. Just pray that you will be with them, and as this community and others are strong, Lord, we know that there will be people that will rally around and support and help with the restoration process to make it as efficient and speedy as possible. Lord, we just thank you for all those who work here at the county to provide the services that we're asked to do. And Lord, we pray every morning for the provisions that you give us with grateful hearts that we'll be able to continue to do that. Just be with us as we take up our meeting this morning, and guide us and lead us and direct us in all of thoughts and actions. We just love you in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. All right, I have minutes for March 18th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written there.
I'll second it.
We have a motion second to approve the March 18th minutes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same motion. Minutes approved as presented. First item on our agenda will be the wastewater agreement with between the county and the Laclede County Health Department. I kind of hoped that they would be here this morning because I had a couple of questions regarding this. And looking at the contract, it's effective April 1st, and since we have increased the rates, I was curious if they will be sending out a notice to the installers and whether or not there would be a grace period extended on that. But they're not here this morning, so I'll reach out later and see if I can get my questions answered. So yeah. With that, if you've had a chance to review it, I would entertain a motion to execute the agreement with the health department.
Have you seen this part yet?
Well, that's the old one. I make a motion to approve the wastewater agreement with the health department.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. I have a motion second to approve the wastewater agreement between the county and the Laclede County Health Department. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, next item of business would be the transfer of the title to the Humvee. And a little background on this. This was acquired a number of years ago, and recently conversation with those at the state, it indicated that we have clear title to it, which we've been in possession of, and it's simply a matter of how we want to I'm going to say dispose of it, but I think probably decommission it out of commission service is probably the better way to phrase it. And then Joe, I think you have been in contact with the Veterans Board, and you want to speak to that?
Yeah, actually, I contacted a couple of them yesterday that's on the Veterans Board. Elliott Wilburn, John Shelton. John actually had a few questions on some of that he was supposed to talk to a few of his others they're on the board with. He's supposed to get back with me. He never reached back out. I tried reaching both of them today. Elliott just texted back right there, and basically he didn't realize he was going to be needing to come to the meeting. He thought John was.
Okay.
So I thought there'd be a couple different ones. So, so we're still in limbo on them showing up. They do want it. They just don't know how, if there's anything holding them bound to how they need to, I guess, possess it or how they need to keep it. Okay. Color wise, they said something about a lot of stuff gets really funny about keeping a certain color or keeping off the tires. If it's got regular rubber tires, if they've got to be up off the ground, oil, transmission fluid, all the fluids drained, basically stuff like that.
So I guess with hearing that, do we transfer it at this moment? Seems like there's unanswered questions.
Right.
And then I had it was inquired of me this morning to cancel the insurance, and I said as of today, so I need to put a hold on that, and we'll bring that back up.
I think we would be best to table that for now and bring that back up maybe next week. Give one more week, we can figure out where we want to be from there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we have a motion to table that.
I'll make a motion to table
Second.
that.
I'll second it.
Motion second table. Okay. Next on our agenda will be a presentation from the director of the Lebanon Downtown Business District, who is in the news frequently. Every time you pick up the newspaper, you see her in the news. So I'd like to welcome the very famous Sarah Angst to give us a presentation. Good morning.
Good morning. Is it okay if I speak to you from my seat? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever you're most comfortable with.
Okay.
You bet.
Well, this feels more comfortable. So thank you for having me. I think the last time I spoke was before there was a change in commissioners, so welcome. So part of the county's property is in downtown. The annex across the street is officially in downtown. I guess I'll back up and explain kind of how this all works. So there are two different organizations going on in downtown Lebanon. So there's the Downtown Business District, which is an official subdivision of the city. It has boundaries, legal boundaries. There's a small property tax levy that goes toward certain improvements downtown with that. And then there's also a $50 business license fee for certain businesses in the downtown district. So all of that money goes to extra things that the city provides, like trash pickup, the benches, banners, decorations, things like that. So that's the official subdivision of the city that is the Downtown Business District. But then there's also Lebanon, Missouri Main Street, Inc., which is an organization that's a nonprofit that's goal is to revitalize downtown Lebanon. It's part of Main Street America, which is part of Missouri Main Street, it's an organization at the national level that focuses on revitalizing historic downtown districts. It's been around since the 70s. There's a very specific approach that's involved with a board and committees, and there's 4 points involved in it. You go to trainings and all kinds of great stuff. So it's a very organized way of revitalizing a downtown district that is a proven method. So Lebanon, Missouri Main Street, Inc. has been around since 2019. Since that time, I think end of 2019 is when the first executive director was hired by Lebanon, Missouri Main Street. There's been some shifts in how all that works, but I'm the 3rd director. Since a director has been hired, sales tax has doubled. Like the taxable sales in downtown have doubled. In 2019, it was about $5 million in taxable sales in the business district, and in 23, it was $10 million. So we're excited to see what 24 looked like, but there is no extra tax for downtown for sales or anything like that. It's just an extra property tax levy. So part of my job, other than focusing on events and getting people down there and the fun business mix that's happening and making it look pretty and all of those great things. I help direct the organization, which is all volunteers. We have 13 board members. We have 5 standing committees now. It's a total of 45 people who volunteer on a monthly basis to do the whole revitalization. So it's a lot of effort. And I had talked last time, I had mentioned to Mr. Angst that I would love it if the courthouse and this campus were also part of downtown. Now, there wouldn't be any business license fees, there wouldn't be any property taxes, because you guys don't pay that, right, to yourselves. But it would be really neat for us as a downtown to be able to have events and photos and things like that that encompass this area. And in my opinion, this is downtown. People walk here, I can see my apartment from here. So it's already connected to downtown. So that's kind of what I would like to see, is the county becoming a part of the business district. I brought an example of what that would look like. So the way it works is, since it is a subdivision of the city, the county would petition city council to say, we would like to be added to the business district. And then the county takes that petition, holds a public hearing, 2 different times, and then they vote whether or not to add. So there are a couple of other areas that would like to be added to downtown. So I thought, since you guys had expressed an interest in it, let's just do it all at the same time. So I'm gonna give you guys each a copy of this example petition.
Thank you.
And I would be happy to answer any questions, because I don't know what it is you want to know, or questions that you have.
Yeah, so Sarah, if I may, I'll start. I heard you say you have 13 board members.
Yes.
Are those appointed or elected?
Those are elected. So the nonprofit arm, Lebanon, Missouri Main Street, they are elected by themselves. So if someone leaves, we put out applications, and then the current board members elect new ones. There is also a 9-member advisory board to the mayor that's appointed by the mayor. So there are 2 separate boards that operate, one the city function and one the nonprofit function.
Okay. And so that'll generate a follow-up question then. So the 9-member advisory board that reports to the mayor, that is the political subdivision,
Yes.
quote unquote, the downtown business district.
Correct.
So that would be relating to their business tax, their additional property tax that they pay, and so forth. So are there meetings that you hold between the 2? Do you ever have a joint meeting of those 2? Or?
We haven't done a specific meeting between those 2 boards, but we do have occasional open public meetings for the entire district. So
okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, to some degree. Are you able to serve on both boards?
There would be a small amount of people that could serve on both boards. We couldn't have a quorum of one be a member of the other, or vice versa.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So if somebody was on the mayor's advisory board, they would be eligible to serve on the downtown board as well?
Yes, as long as we don't have, like, say there are 13 members of the nonprofit board. We couldn't, since there are 9 of the other, we couldn't have more than 4 of those beyond the other.
Okay. Do you have bylaws?
Yes, both have bylaws.
Did you send those to the commission?
Yes.
Okay.
The advisory board.
I
mean, that's what we're asking you to join, so, yeah.
Both boards should have some bylaws.
Yeah, both
shouldn't they?
do, yeah. I
Yeah.
can send you both if you want.
I think I would respect that if you could. Yeah.
Okay. And then on the, and I know there's probably opportunities for the vacant lot where HD Lee was out, but are there any plans that you're aware of right now to develop that? And probably nothing you could speak to. If you knew, you'd have to, but
There are discussions happening.
okay, all right.
Good.
Okay.
We're very excited about what could potentially happen there.
Future's always bright.
Yes.
So as part of that, I'm aware of a lot that you have over on, let's see, got to get my presidents over there. Gosh, what street is
Madison, that one, yeah.
the empty lot? What's taking place on it right now?
So, the city and Lebanon, Missouri Main Street are working together to create an urban park. I'm actually giving a presentation to City Council tonight about that. And I can send you the renderings that we have for that. But basically, so that lot was owned by First State Community Bank and then donated to the city for the purpose of it being some type of community space. So it's going to be a stage area at the back, public bathrooms. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for art because it's a 200-foot, 2-story wall there. But essentially, it's going to be a space that people can use for gathering, like live music, art shows, that kind of thing. So not a park in the traditional sense of playground equipment, but more like a gathering space. And the public bathrooms will be a welcome addition to downtown for sure.
Sure. Okay. All right. As the HD Lee property would be developed, I'm just wondering if there'd be any space there for anything that the county might have, like an old jail cell that might be a photo op. It was really a Kodak moment when the old jail was removed, and there's some other items that would be nice to put on display. And one of the thoughts I had while that building was still standing would be that we would have like a walking trail downtown, and that it would highlight the historical aspect of downtown Lebanon. Of course, the old building that's not there. Come on over to the courthouse, and then go down here to the R3 School Foundation, their development there, and it would actually be a trail where people could stop and there'd be landmarks or something there, and for those who might choose to live downtown at some point or visit our community, kind of a walking trail downtown.
Like a self-guided tour.
Yeah.
We've talked about that, and it's one of those things that we want to get it off the ground, but we have to find somebody who's passionate enough about it to really lead that project. But yes, we've definitely been thinking about that.
Okay.
We have a lot of history.
So with the Parks and Recreation tax that the voters approved here a couple of years ago, would that not be a good source for something like that?
At the Allen Building site?
Well, or the entire walking trail.
Yeah, possibly. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it on the list for discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've noticed as you've been successful with your Friday night events, and just as I come back through town later in the evenings, which is not very often, there are people strolling up and down the sidewalks, and I know we have a lot of events planned for next year with Route 66 and America 250, our nation's birthday, and so I think there's just going to be a lot more activity, obviously, that you're going to be a big part of downtown. So that's the extent of my questions, gentlemen. Do you have any other questions for Sarah?
I really don't at this time, as far as that goes. I'd like to do a little bit more checking into a few things before.
Yeah, 100%.
You bet. So no, I don't really have any extra.
I will say that part of what I love is the historic preservation aspect when it comes to marketing downtown and talking about it. And I've told Randy before, I really want that statue to be in downtown because I love that statue. It's been part of our community since the early 1900s. So it's.
Which one?
The Bland statue.
Oh.
Yeah. He's pointing at all of them.
Sorry, I was a little slow to pick up on that one.
Right
Okay,
here. Yeah. One right out here.
Yeah, and so, with that, here on the campus, of course, we have Lebanon's only governor, Mr. Donnelly. We have his bust here, and then we have the, which we'll get back up this spring, we have the plaque that was put here by the Missouri Highway Transportation Department that speaks to the history of Laclede County and the city of Lebanon. So yeah, we have some historical items here. Yeah, so that'd be a great part of that walking trail.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right. Sarah, do you have anything else for us?
No, I would like to thank the commission for being supporters of downtown. You guys give us some funds every year, and that goes to the great things that you see downtown. So thank you for being a supporter.
Yeah, it's looking very good. I mean, I know my wife really appreciates it a whole lot better than what she did, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
It's changing every day, but it's the whole community getting together and saying, we want this to be the heart of our community, so nobody's gonna do it but us, so let's do it.
And that's true, like you said. I mean, it's more of a community thing because, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, my wife, her sister, my daughter-in-laws, some nieces and cousins, they all now will get together and they'll just walk through downtown and the little shops and boutiques and stuff. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You bet. So we do appreciate all your efforts and everything that you do.
Thank you. It's a group effort.
That's right. One can't do it all.
Yep, I just get to be a part of it.
You bet.
So, thank
Sarah, thank you for everything you do for our community. And if you'd like to say, you can, but I heard you say you had a 10 o'clock meeting and you've watched paint dry in this room before. So.
Well, I love these meetings, but they keep me pretty busy. So, but thank you again. If you have questions, let me know and I will email you all the bylaws that you can take a look at.
Please, yeah.
And the current district boundaries and all of that. So.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Have a good day.
You do.
Next item on the agenda would be the use tax update. I had the opportunity to speak at the Chamber Business Builders Luncheon last Friday, and Joe was there as well. And I think the meeting went, it was very informative. The county and the city both provided information. I think it was well received, a lot of good questions because there's so much to know about the use tax / online sales tax, and I think among that group, again, it was well received. A lot of good questions, and there's just so much out there that's so much misinformation that people have that might impact their decision to support it or not support it. So we, I think, accomplished quite a bit during that. I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting that, to give us the opportunity. My big takeaway from it would be that when voters in the city of Lebanon look at their ballot, they're going to have both questions on their ballot. Unlike those who live in the county, we will have the Laclede County question, and I want to stress that it's called the Laclede County question on the ballot. So we'll see that, but based upon one of the questions that was asked from an individual who lives in the city of Lebanon, well, will I vote just for the city of Lebanon, and does that mean I'm voting for both, if that was her decision to do so? So that was a big takeaway for me, how we message that just in our private conversations as we provide information, and also just to the greater community, to let them know that if you live in the city of Lebanon, you will have 2 ballot questions there. And so from the county standpoint, I felt like that was something that we need to be sensitive to. So that those who vote for one know that they have the opportunity and can vote for both if it's on their ballot. The other thing I did after that meeting, I'd asked the Laclede County Record to quote some rates for advertising, and they're working on that right now. And so I met with a representative of the Laclede County Record yesterday, and the flyer / information sheet that we've been working on internally, I just handed it to him and I said, okay, make something out of this. So I hope to have some proofs back, hopefully today, that we can review and see if that would be something that we would want to pursue. I think it's going to be important that we have something out there, and perhaps even take what they provide back to us. If we like that and approve it, then maybe that becomes the essence of our flyer if we so choose to do that. So I'm anxious to see what that looks like. And as soon as I get that, I'll make sure I put it, distribute that via email to both of you. Met with another individual yesterday, just really to be a one-person focus group. It's an individual that I think has a lot of insight into the community and how we might promote that. Hopefully we'll have something back from him today as well, because we have a lot to say, but we have to be very concise with it. It's a subject matter that the more you explain it, the more difficult it gets to know whether or not the person you're speaking with is supportive or not. You know, some people think it's a new tax. Some people think it's not a new tax. Some people think it's a double tax. It's not a double tax. I mean, there's so much information. Some people think that the state of Missouri is collecting on behalf of the counties that their voters haven't approved this. That's not so. There's not a pot of money in Jefferson City waiting to come back to Laclede County if the voters pass this. Once the voters approve it, then those out-of-state vendors, they will get a notification from Department of Revenue, and they'll add us to their list of political subdivisions that they'll start collecting tax on, and then that's when it triggers that. The other thing, I called Department of Revenue yesterday. It'd been when we put this on the ballot in 2020, there was approximately 75 counties that had approved the voters had approved the use tax. Speaking with Department of Revenue, there are now 83 out of the 114 counties in Missouri that have approved this, which really means Laclede County is getting farther behind with a lot of our neighbors. You know, when their voters approve it and they can see the benefit of the additional funding, which really is not additional funding, it's just bringing back home what we lose. You know, it's invested in law enforcement. It's invested in our county road improvement plan, and we know that as we've witnessed as we go through our budget, what the impact of the inflation's had on general county services. So, you know, 83 of 114 counties kind of speaks volumes there as well. So with that, then after we get the proof back from the Laclede County Record, and after my focus group of one gets back with me, then I hope that we can put something together just as more public information. And along with that, we post it on the commission Facebook page, and we would also obviously put it on our website. And that would enable us to speak more in detail about how we would invest those funds. So that's my update on the use tax. Do you have any comments, any thoughts on my approach? I'm open to all ideas on how we can provide the information that voters need to make their decision.
I like the sound of it. I'm wondering if we could at least on the website or the Facebook page, address those commonly asked questions or misconceptions on there.
Could we get a copy of what we've done so far? Could we get 3 copies of that? Okay.
Yeah, clarity is the main thing there, and I think that luncheon that had a lot of clarity came out in that luncheon with a lot of the business leaders and people there that didn't quite have the understanding, and that, I thought that was pretty good. Information was conveyed well and made a lot of clarity to people. So I thought that was rather well.
I also, maybe we need to hammer home that 83 of 114 counties.
The majority's there already.
Yeah.
The majority's there. And like Randy said, we are getting further behind. I mean, because it's that online sales are just gaining every day, you know. So, and that's just less revenue that we're able to get and to keep maintaining, to sustain even. I mean, it's going to get down to where it's going to be hard just to sustain instead of do anything new. So, because that's just the way that the future's rolling. I'd like to take it back to simpler times. We talked about that a little bit earlier, how that was, you know.
Well, I think one of the comments, Joe, that we heard there was from the city administrator regarding his understanding, and I'm not questioning his understanding at all, but the point that he made was, I thought the statutes went back to the 40s or 50s, but he had indicated that his research, it went back to the 20s, and really it was in the days where, and his example was the Sears catalog, and you could order anything out of the Sears catalog, and it would be available, delivered to you, or what the case might be there, and the use tax then was to collect on those catalog sales. Mm-hmm. So the use tax, the catalog sales of the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so forth. Now it's the online sales as opposed to the catalog sales. So I found that to be a very interesting perspective at that time, because even the example that was used was, you could buy your home from Sears, from the Sears catalog. So times have changed, but really it is the same situation we find ourselves in the 21st century here. So, all right. So with that, anything else, and hopefully I'll get my hands on something maybe even before we adjourn, and I'm keeping my eye open for that, and we can circle back around to it. Okay. Next item on the agenda would be I have a tax fund request that came before the commission, and this is on personal property. And this was the explanations here from the assessor's office. So please review that. I'm going to excuse myself for just a minute. And when I come back, I'll entertain a motion.
We looked at it. We didn't have it on the agenda to go through. This is one we just looked at and overseen. Yeah. And then thought we would just save it. Yeah. Coming back to. Yeah, that's right. Same deal. Did you want to relook?
I already read it.
Yeah. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a refund request, personal property, in the amount of $338.06. I have a motion second to approve. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Refund approved. Okay, the next item I have is, I believe I have a guest here this morning that's probably in the room. This is an issue that came before me back in November that I've done some research on. I've received additional information, and I think Mr. Tony Kastens from Heartland Partners would like to speak to the commission about this. And so I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell us about this particular case, if you want to speak about your business model or whatever, and then there won't be any decision made today, but you had indicated last week in the phone conversation that you wanted to approach the commission, and as everyone knows, I have very open meetings, so I extended that courtesy to you. But there won't be any action taken today, and I have visited with my legal counsel on it. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Yeah. My name is Tony Castles. I'm at Heartland Partners. Got a long background in real estate development, construction. A few years back, actually, my sister's an appraiser here in Missouri, and our business is, we don't buy property at tax sale, but we watch the properties that go through tax sale because we recognize that there was a number of examples where properties went to tax sale and there's heirs to the properties that don't really usually even know anything about it. People is deceased. And we've had a lot of success in multiple counties all over Missouri where we would identify properties that we had an interest in, that we thought we could do something with, and we would then roll up our sleeves and go find all the heirs and do all the legal work and legwork and locate them and go through a process to acquire the property, which would mean redeeming it then and then going and cleaning it up and rehabbing it and reselling it. And like I said, we've had a lot of success where heirs have come out with something rather than nothing. We, in the cycle of, prior to 2023, was a property here in Laclede County that we went through that process and located all the heirs and acquired their interest in, and then was coming forward to redeem the property. And won't necessarily go into all the details. I told Randy about what had happened. It was very disappointment, and not quite sure why even actually, but we were prevented from redeeming it. And so then we made the decision. I hired Gary Smith over here at Smith Gustafson to work with me and kind of interface with the county, and he submitted some documents to Randy because we figured, okay, we'll just back up and claim the surplus and work with the heirs that way, and they would get something that way, and then we would get compensated as well. And so Gary submitted all the stuff to Commissioner Angst, and I was following up with it to find out, what had happened, and wanted to communicate with the heirs. And he said that there might be some questions, and that's why I wanted to be here personally to answer any questions, to make sure there was complete clarity as to who we were and what we were doing and what we were requesting. And so I decided to show up personally and make sure I could field any questions. But we have a request in for a portion of the surplus with the heirs that we had acquired the interest from in the property. And it wasn't the way I'd hoped it would play out, because normally, like I said, we go forward and then we clean up the property and resell it and add value to it. In this case, we were prevented from doing so. So I'm open to any questions.
I vaguely remember something about this, but it's been too many days ago.
Yeah, Erik, so I was first made aware of it back in November when the local attorney visited my office and presented some information. And then I had reviewed it, I'd looked at it, I'd received some additional information, still seeking clarity, and like I explained to Mr. Kastens was that with a new commission coming in, like I did other things, I didn't immediately act. This is something that I felt should come before the new commission. I've learned in my time here that sometimes by being part of it, I've learned more than not. So I felt like this would be an opportunity for me to be refreshed, and for you and Joe, if you weren't familiar with the process, as to what that would look like. And then after receiving some of that information, then back on January 17th, I received an additional correspondence from Gary's law office there, and they had at that point submitted documents indicating the amounts based upon their list of, and I'm gonna say heirs that they have compiled. So at face value, I looked at their list of heirs, and I started doing some math, and then we get into budget, and we're working on other matters, and I'm okay. I know from Mr. Kastens' standpoint that he'd like to resolve as soon as possible, but and not to imply that it's not important or not urgent, but there were just other matters that came up. So that led to a phone call last week, and then that also prompted me to reach back out so I would have command of the facts today. So whenever I whenever we meet with Mr. Kastens, that I can speak from a position from the county. Okay, and so in doing so, I did verify through, learned a little bit more about this case. There was it did go through a legal process, either in 23 or 24. The collector did issue a collector's deed on the property, so there are funds sitting over here in surplus property in the treasurer's office, okay, in that account. And then those funds are there, as you probably know, for the individuals that have a legal right to claim those funds. And then if that doesn't occur after a certain amount of time, and by statute, it could be more than 3 years, but by what has typically been done here in Laclede County, if there's been no request made for those funds, then those funds, after 3 years, in August, Christie then sends those funds to the local school district. And that's how the process works. And that's happened a couple of times since I've been here, but that doesn't happen till August, and Christie will wait 3 years. So there's still time for this to be worked out. So that's a little bit of extra background. Visit with Tony, collector's deed was issued, and then I circle back around to Amy in the prosecutor's office and had a conversation with her, and so here's the position of the county. If you look at this list that was provided, and I have no reason to just look at it other than accept it as face value. You'll see a number of names on there. Some are first cousins, some are second cousins. There's percentages there that have been determined. I don't know how that process works, why some would have more and some would have less. But as you review that, the bottom line is, and this is from my legal counsel, and this is the advice that I've received and the advice that I'm going to follow, is that the process by which a judge would use to verify or determine